Okay. Okay. Now I guess I've got all the bells and whistles turned on. To the best of my knowledge, anyway. Morning, Christy. Morning, Jonathan.
Morning, everybody. Morning, Lynn. Everybody, Sylvia.
Morning, Christy.
Dave. Good morning.
Glad to see you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Good morning. Glad to see you.
Jonathan, did you used to live in Indiana?
I did not. No.
You're not related to the Hubbards in Indiana you're meeting.
I don't, not that I know of. No, I have some distant relatives on my mother's side that live in southern Indiana, but they have a different last name.
Yeah. Who is at West Newton this morning?
Image message from Patrice Stevenson as you suggested. Dad's rose regrew after the wind snapped it off last fall. Jason's graduation is at 3:45 this afternoon, so no promises about being on Zoom by 5. Hope all is well with you all. We will be heading out with Susie's family TMRW morning for Wash, D.C.
Goodness.
Dave, that's coming through your computer. I don't know what it is.
I think it's on Dave's phone. It's the report from the Stevenson family.
Oh, okay. Well, the question was who's here in the building, and that would be Chip and Norma and me.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, well, and it's almost time to start anyway, so let's go ahead. You can mute yourselves so that we don't have feedback. Brent is away this week, so you have your backup technology person, who is me, and I'm so far doing okay with this, but I don't know how long that'll last. We'll see. The question, I suppose, in terms of joys and concerns is Steve. So I'll just start off with that, and then if you have other joys or concerns that you would like to share, you're welcome to chime in. Our worship leader this morning is Dorrell, and so long as the technology works and we can hear him, that will be great, and if not, we'll have quiet worship. It worked a few minutes ago. Steve is in St. Francis Hospital on the southeast side of Indianapolis. He was diagnosed on Thursday evening. Yeah, I guess my days are all running together. I guess it was Thursday evening with acute myeloid leukemia, which was a shock, although it wasn't a shock in some ways. He has not been well for quite some time, and we knew there was something probably fairly serious going on, but still, when the nurse practitioner comes out with it just flat out, it's a shock. The doctor has prescribed 5 infusion treatments of chemotherapy, and he is inpatient during that time. After he comes home, then he will have a monthly outpatient infusion of chemotherapy for the rest of his life. And of course, we don't know exactly how long that is. The doctor has said maybe a year, but we also know somebody who has had this kind of leukemia before, and she's been in remission for 5 years, but she was also 10 years younger than Steve when she was diagnosed. So we don't know. But the chemotherapy is not making him sick at his stomach like we had been concerned about. So we're feeling much more optimistic today than we did on Friday. Your thoughts and prayers have been much appreciated by both of us, I know, and we will continue to count on those to get us through all this. So thank you very much. Are there other joys? Well, a joy for us is that grandson Dale graduates from high school this week. And he is a huge help on the farm. He's been able to step right in and do the bean planting that Paul would have been able to do. And so that is a huge relief to Steve not to have to worry about that kind of thing. Are there other joys and concerns that you'd like to share? Norma, you need to tell us about Emma, don't you? Oh, you have music to play too. I forgot that. How about you tell us about Emma and then you can play your music.
Emma has had an energy crisis for several months, serious energy crisis. She's so tired she cannot even walk up the steps to go to class sometimes. And she's been tested for multiple things, and everything comes back negative. And what they're saying is it's simply an adrenal fatigue. And then like Tuesday or Wednesday this week, she tested positive for COVID and was in isolation until tomorrow. And she's feeling much better. And so we're looking forward to her graduation on Friday from Monrovia High School. And so she really is, she's improved in all ways, the COVID as well as the adrenal fatigue. So we're hopeful about her recovery too.
Obviously, I'm a little rattled this morning, but if there are additional joys and concerns that you would like to share, please feel free to do that, and then Dale will speak out of the silence as he feels led.
I have a joy. Favorite grandson Drake was named Student of the Month for May, and he was nominated by his band teacher.
Dan and I helped arrange for our Congolese friends from who worship at First Friends Marshalltown after the Friends do. The Congolese have their Swahili service after that, and in associating with them, we learned that they were really eager to find a place where they could have a garden. So Dan and I helped arrange for the community garden at the community college to have a couple of plots that we can rent for the Congolese congregation. That's been really interesting and fun. They are refugees from the Congo.
Lord God, we come before you with gratitude for another day, with gratitude that we can come before you with our concerns, especially for Emma and for Steve. Also, we celebrate with others graduations and other celebrations that are a part of this time. Thank you. Come away for a while. Come away, dear child of God. And be glad. Come away for a while. Come away for a while. Come away for a while and rest. Christ who journeyed life's road with compassion for the people he met, yet when the crowds overwhelmed, it was time to the hills alone he withdrew. He with his Abba in prayer. While come away, dear child of God. Come away to the arms of a loving God. Come away for a while and rest. You who would choose to answer his call, live his loving care. Be his example when life goes well. Come away for a while in prayer. Come away a while. Come away, dear child of God, and be come away for a while. Come away for a while. Come away for a while and rest. The Lord God formed Adam from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. The human being became a living being. I want to reflect this morning around breath. Breath as life, breath as spirit, spirit as life. I did a rather crazy thing this last month and took the life course at the YMCA so I could lifeguard. The second time that I've done that, the first time I did it because they needed an extra one when they needed 6 people in order to do the life course. But Angela wanted to take it when she was 15 years old. And since they only had 5 people, I decided to take it. And but that was long ago. I had gone in a few times to go swimming, and there wasn't, the pool was closed because there wasn't anybody there to lifeguard. I didn't do that. Our children this last Christmas decided that a good Christmas present for us would be to give us a Y membership. Now, I hadn't had one, or we hadn't had one for quite a while because my work schedule, then the pandemic kind of made it rather worth it. We had joined the Y again, and I had started back to swimming as a morning exercise. Anyway, I'd gone in a few times, and because they weren't open, I decided that maybe I could fill in on occasion if they needed somebody to do that. Couldn't obviously swim, but I was like, but you know, I would offer that. But I was going to at this point do a little song on swimming that came from my Story Anonymous, but I think I'm going to go. I'm going to pass on some of this singing because I'm not sure how well it's coming through anyway. And I do have a couple of other things. I actually learned to swim about the same time my children. Now, I had the experience that as many high school or school kids do of being thrown into the deep end of the pool and having to figure out that I could get out of it. But I really hadn't learned to swim until about the time my children were beginning to learn to swim and get on these swim teams and swim competitively. And the Victor school system in upstate New York allowed the public to come in at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was open for lap swim. Well, I went in for several weeks and would beat the water and get from one end to the other, maybe have to stop and catch my breath and get back to going back to the other end again. For several weeks, I found myself just beating the water, stopping to breathe. And then I realized, after a while, that somehow or another it was becoming not only easier, but I was figuring out how to coordinate the stroking, and the kicking, and the breathing. And I could go not one length, but several lengths. Because I found that coordination, that opportunity to kind of coordinate, and was able to begin to breathe as I went, as I was moving forward. Now, for a number of years, I had gone over to New Mallory Abbey for a vacation, on my vacation time, and taken a few days to go on retreat. And I found that very, but kind of short-lived when I, when I leave that place, I always determined I was going to do a better job of kind of keeping up a rhythm and a meditation and all, but it never seemed to last a long time. Being able to develop kind of a metaphor, I think, for me, for the spiritual life. Being able to figure out how to live, how to coordinate those times of meditation, those times of just taking time. A song that I opened with was something that came during one of those times, but figuring out how to take the time weekly and even daily to breathe, to just find its center again, to get that rhythm in life. For me, being a pretty anxious person a lot of the time by nature, it's pretty easy for me to get overwhelmed by the way things are going, economically, politically, globally, physically. It's pretty easy to get overwhelmed by life. And sometimes I really just find myself having to figure out how to stop and breathe. Remember that center of life. During the lifeguarding course, there was a time when we had to get in the water and, quote, save somebody. Fortunately, it really weren't drowning, but at one point anyway, I was supposed to dive in, get to the center of the pool, get down and get somebody off the bottom of the pool. And he was better at being on the bottom of the pool than I would have been. I got a little too much buoyancy these days. But I got to the center and I had to force my way down to the bottom of the pool. And about halfway down, I began to go, oh, I gotta breathe, I gotta breathe, I gotta breathe. I got panic. That's it. Not really too much, because I did manage to get her from the bottom of the pool and get her to the side in a timely manner. But I'm aware of how much fear and anxiety can affect my life, and how often I need to just simply stop. Remember what I can do, what God can do, what God can do through me. But just remember, I'm not alone. Remember to breathe. Just breathe. Fear can rob that pretty easily. Finding those ways and those rhythms in life help us to move forward, or to accomplish, or to be a part of something bigger. Because this all is not just about us. I think it's easy sometimes in our culture to think of it's my individual life. It's about me. And yes, it is, but it's about more than that. During this early on in the pandemic, when lots of things were happening, there went my guitar. Another song came to me that I would like to share with you that has to do with how we respond to the world in need of breathing. I cannot breathe. Choked awake a childhood memory of violent fire. Waken a decade scream beneath the silence of no friend. I cannot breathe. The COVID patient sleep. People that eat gas for wonderland. Like cannot that worship power and wealth while humanity you I cannot breathe. Your neck cowering back the dying. Cannot awakening the century scream for justice, equality, peace. I cannot where privilege reduces liberty to I not rest. Breathe, spirit, breathe, clearing fire against injustice. Breathe, spirit, breathe, a cleansing fire of repentance. Breathe, spirit, breathe, a voice that acts for change. So breathe, spirit, breathe into us life again. Cannot
Thank you, Dale, for those words. I really appreciate them. It's time for us to transition to the unprogrammed part of Meeting for Worship. We invite all of you to stay who can and wish Godspeed for those of you who cannot. If all hearts are clear, I believe we've come to the end of our worship time together. Dale, I'd like to thank you for your words this morning. Very meaningful. Good to see everybody. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you, Dale. Good to see everybody.
Good to see you too.